Yeah, so when we talk about adding tools, the necessary tools you have to add to your trading view platform to help you do your analysis. Now we are going to learn how to add the most important tools to our trading view to help us analyze or to help us with our analysis. So let's move on to it. So when you come to the far left, we have a horizontal bar here. We have a horizontal bar here. So that horizontal bar is where we are going to use most of our tools. Then the next thing I will want to talk about is the watch list. So now let's move on to the tools and let's figure how things are being done on the tools section. Now the first tool we have over here is our cursor. So with a cursor, depending on how you want to use it, we have three forms of the cursor. So you see, when you put your mouse cursor on the cursor over there, you get access to, there's a little arrow around that area. When you hit on that arrow, it gives you access to pick any of the cases that you want. Now, I use the cross and I use the dot and I use the arrow, but normally I'm most with the arrow. One thing I want you to take note over here is that you see the arrow, there's a star around the arrow. The star around the arrow means favorite. So if you like that particular tool, you have to add it to your favorite. The moment you add it to your favorite, it's going to appear over here. You see this bar I have over here, the things you see over here are more like my favorite. Okay, so with the moment you add it to your favorite, it will appear here. Then it will be creating like a list on itself for you. So let's see how it is being done. So when I come here, you see, when you hit on the arrow, you can hit the cross. If you want the cross, if you look on the chart very well, you realize that we have something like a cross over here. So the cross, we use it to track price. Okay, you can use it to track price. So let me remove the breaks so that you see what I am really talking about. Yeah. So watch the chart very carefully. You realize that we have something more like a cross on it. Okay. So we can use this to track price. So with this one, you realize that we have a horizontal dotted line, then we have a vertical dotted line, then we have a horizontal dotted line. So with this form of arrow, it helps you to track. Maybe when you come vertically, you are able to track the date and the time of the day. But when you go to the horizontal, you are able to track the exact price. So at this particular date and time, where was the exact price? That is how we use this particular form of cursor. If you don't want it, then you can come there and select another form of cursor. We have this one, we have the dot. Okay, the dot will help you. You can see on my chart the dot. Or you can come to the same area, then you select the arrow, which I use most. I like the arrow. I use the arrow most of the time. Now the three forms of cursors within that particular pop-up, you select the one that you like most and you hit the star. The moment you hit the star, it becomes a favorite app. It becomes a favorite for you. So that is it. When you hit and it becomes a favorite, it's going to reflect on over around this area. Now let's move on to the next thing. The next thing, we have a line over here. Now we use this particular tool to draw trend lines. So if you're a trend trader, we see the first one is a trend line. I've put more like a favorite on it. So the moment I put a favorite, it's gonna appear over here on my chart. So if you're a trend trader, you can use this one to draw trend lines, or you can use this one to draw, like for instance, we have a break of structure over here. So when you put it on the chart, you hold the left button, then you press shift so that you can get a straight line like this. If you don't press the shift and hold, your line will be crooked. It can be something like this. You can have this form of line. So what you do is that you hit it like this, then you bring it to the chart where you want to start from. You put it there, then you start dragging. Then when you get to the place you want to stop, you hit the left button on the mouse like this. That is how you're going to do it. But if you want it to be a straight line, you hit it, you left click, then you come to the chart, then you left click to leave it on the chart, then you drag it to where you want to drag it. But as you are dragging it, please press the shift on the keyboard so that it will become a straight line. And when you get to where you want to leave it, you press the left button once again. Then that is how it is being done. That is how it is being done. If you want to delete, there will be the moment you start using it, there will be a pop-up there will be a pop-up bar over here to edit what you are doing. So over here, let's say the line is so thin for you, you can make it the 1px. You can make it more like a 3, or you can make it a more like a 4, so that it will become very deep and big for you to know what you're doing. If you don't like the color, you can come to the pencil icon over here, then you can change the color of whatever thing that you are doing. So that is how to draw lines on the chart. If you want to draw a trend line too, you can use the same thing to draw a trend line. You come here, you hit it, you come to where you want to draw the trend line. The moment you come there, you hit the left button on the mouse so that it appears on the canvas. Then you start drawing your trend line. Then when you get to where you want to finish with your trend line, you hit there. So when you put it on the chart, you drag to where you want it to be. So you push the mouse to where you want it to be. Then you hit the left button again. Then you leave it there. That is how it is being done. Now let me delete, and let's move on to the next tool we have over here. So if you want to delete, you left click, it highlights, then you can delete, or you can lock it. So when you lock it, it means it's not going to move anywhere again. So you see I've locked it, it's not going to go anywhere, it will be there forever. But if you don't lock it, maybe your cursor can move it, but if you lock it, no cursor can move it. Yeah, that is one thing that you have to pay attention to. So now I'm deleting it from the chat, so I'm going to left click on the mouse, then I am going to delete. I am going to delete or remove. Now I have removed it. That is what we use. So over here, when you come to the same area and you hit it once again, this pop-up comes out. So you can select any form of line you want. If you want the trend line, fine. If you want the horizontal line, you can see that the horizontal line, I have made it my favorite, and the vertical line, I have made it my favorite. So you can test any other one over here and see how it works. So over here, let's see the horizontal line. I will left click, I'll come to the chart, I'll left click on it. You see the horizontal line has appeared on the chart. Now, if I want to delete or if I want to edit, I'll click on it, then I'll left click on the delete, then it will delete. If I want to do settings, I can do it over there, the same thing. Okay, so here if I want to use the vertical, I left click, I come to the chart, I left click again, then it appears. Then you can do the settings, you can change the color, you can change how big it is. All over here you can do. If you want to delete, then you come to delete again, it deletes. Now let's move on to the next tool I want you to pay attention to, that I use and you will need in your trading settings. Now you can use this. I don't use Fibonacci retracement, I don't use all those things. So the next important thing I want you to come to is this place, forecasting and measurement tools. We call this tool forecasting and measurement tools. Now when you hit on the arrow beside it like this, now you left click on the arrow, then this pop-up comes. We have long position and short position. We have long position and short position. So you realize that on this whole thing, my best tool is the long position and the short position, and I have made them my favorite over here. So because I have made them my favorite, you realize and you would see that they are appearing at the top over here. Now when I hit the long position, this is what it means. When I hit the long position, I can left click, then I come to the chart, then I put it there, left click. What happens is that where, let's say I'm having an entry at the exact place over here, then the red becomes my stop loss, then the blue becomes where my take profit is gonna be. So let's say I want my stop loss to be here, then I want the blue to be my take profit. I'm going to drag the blue all the way here. So when you put it on the chart like this, you realize that it's going to calculate your risk to your reward for you. Now when you put it over here, you realize that in the middle there, in the middle over here, in the middle over here, check where my cursor is. You see that we have risk to reward ratio, we have 3.7. It means that if we take this trade and the trade becomes a winning trade, it's going to be a 1 to 3, a 1 to 3. Now when it comes here, it also measures the amount of pips you are risking. So you realize that down over here, it means that the red zone, so the gap between the red zone, from here down here all the way up here, okay, the gap between the red zone, okay, the gap in the red zone is literally, have you seen, it is giving us the figures down there. The figures is 46.9 pips. Pay attention over there, 46.9 pips. So if we don't want to put 46.9 pips over there, we can close it a little bit. Let's say we are putting about 35 pips. You see, it has calculated 35 pips for you. That is how powerful this particular tool is. So if you don't want it that way, you can TradingView gives you the opportunity to edit it as well. So with the editing, you realize that when I hit like this, when I left click on it, it gets highlighted at the top over here. Then I can edit the colors. If my red zone over here, I don't want it, I want my red zone to be maybe brown, I can change it, I can make it brown. You see, if I want my stop to be red, okay, then I can. If I want my blue, this blue part is the first one, if I want it to be a green color, I can come, then I edit, then I make it a green color, depending on the way I want it to be. So you can joke with the colors and select your best color. So the same thing when you come to the same area, we have short position. Short position is when you are looking for sales. You see, I've made it my favorite over here. So you can click on the short position like this, left click, you come to the chart, you left click on the chart, you see it has appeared. So when we are looking for sales, it means that our stop loss is going to be at the top. For instance, let's say price was here, we were looking for sales, we were going to do something like this, then our stop is going to be at the top over here, then our take profit is going to be somewhere down over here. Okay, now pay attention to what I'm teaching you over here. You realize that our stop is where the red is. Our stop, have you seen, where the moment you put the cursor on, it calculates everything for you. So the stop, it means that the distance between here, from where the entry was to where our stop loss is. Let's see, the entry is 74 pips, 74.4 pips. You see, it has calculated it there for you. When I move the mouse, it will vanish. Then it will calculate your risk to reward. It means that if your take profit is here, your take profit is 186 pips. It is down. Check the green bar at the top down there. Then it will calculate the risk to reward. It tells you that if this trade runs for you, then you are going to have a risk reward of 2:5.1. So it's 1 to 2.51. Then that is a good risk to reward. So this is how we use this measurement tool. This is how we use this measurement tool in TradingView. It is a very powerful tool. You have to incorporate it in your trading. Now, I taught you. Now you can delete it through the same measurement. Now over here, these are the two things. There are other things. You can have date range, price range, date and price, but the basic one I use in my trading, we are not going to stress the process, is these two, and I would like you to use this tool. If you don't like, you can add certain things to it and play around it and see how it does work. Now, I taught you how to draw golden boxes on the TradingView. Draw golden boxes. How do you do it? The golden boxes, we are going to use the rectangle tool over here. So the rectangle, when we put the cursor closer to the rectangle, you see we have an arrow there. When we hit on when we left click on the arrow, it's going to give us a pop-up. Now with a pop-up, I have my brush over there. My brush brush tool. I have my brush, and I have brush as one of my favorite tools. Now this is how it's being used. When you left click on the brush, you come to the chart. Let's say I'm trying to identify my lower lows. I can do something like this. The moment I put it on the chart, I hold the left button. I don't take my hands off. Then I'll use it to draw over here. When I'm done, when you are done drawing, then you right click so that it will not repeat itself. Then you come here, you come back to the same area. Because I have made it my favorite, it's going to appear over here. It's going to appear over here. So I hit it again, then I'll come back here, then I'll draw something like this. After holding and drawing, then I'll right click. Then I come here, I left click on it, I come to the chart, I left click and hold. Then I'll draw with the mouse, then I'll right click so that it does not repeat itself. Then I'll come back to it again, then I'll left click and hold to draw. I rotate the mouse to draw. Then when I'm done, I'll right click. That is how the brush tool, or how we use the brush tool. It is a very important tool as a trader. It helps you to identify some important points on the chart. Now let's go back to the same place again. Now I've shown you how to use the brush. I don't use the highlighter. You can use the highlighter to do the same thing as the brush. For instance, you can hit left click on the highlighter, you left click on the chart, and you hold. It's similar thing. It's similar thing to what I've taught you. It's similar thing to what I've taught you. And all these things you can literally, if you finish using and you don't hit the right, it will repeat itself. So over here, delete. Okay, now let's move on. We are moving on to the next thing at the same area. Now I've put a favorite on my brush. Now let's move on to the arrow maker. If you want to use the arrow maker to show something, you can highlight, you can make it a favorite and use it. So you hit it like this, then you can do something like this, or you can do something like this. You go back, you hit it again, then you can do something like this, depending on how you want your chart to be and how the places you want to analyze, the place you want to make your important places. Okay, now let's move on. We are moving on to the same area to keep on going. Now you have arrow markup down, arrow markup up. So play with those things, understand how they work. Now the next thing I want you to know is the rectangle is one of my favorite tools. I use it to draw my golden boxes. Now this is how you are going to get it done. When you left click on the rectangle, now you come to the place you want to start, then you left click the same at the area again, then you start. Don't hold the mouse, just put it there. Don't click and hold, just put it there. Then you bring it down to the place you want to end drawing the box. Then you left click again. Now after you have done this, you see it has been left on the chart. The next thing to do is you have to open and close, just edit the box. So you hit on it, you put the cursor on it like this, it gets highlighted. You can left click, then you open, then you close, you open, you close, you put it at a particular point you want to do something around. So let's say we put it down here, we left click, then we can drag, then we can bring it back now over here. Now, so that is how to draw golden boxes. Now if you draw the golden box, let's say this was your high and this was your low. This was your high and this was your low. This was your low. Okay, now you draw a golden box around it, and after you've drawn the golden box, you can bring the cursor to the box, and when it gets highlighted, you can hit on it. You can hit on it like this, then you lock it so that it doesn't vanish or it doesn't go anywhere. Now with this box, you can edit the colors over here. You can edit the colors and select the color you want. You can make it very light or you can make it opaque, a little opaque so that you see the box. Now, this is how to draw the golden boxes. I have showed you how to draw it. So if you draw it and you want to see when the golden box got confirmed, then you can come to the trend line that I taught you. The first thing I taught you, you put it here, you left click, then you start dragging. Okay, you start pulling it too. So because if you don't want it to turn and become curvy, you can hold the shift so that it becomes straight. Okay, now for the sake of our lesson, I made it this color. Let me change it to black. I love the black. Let me make it a black color. Then let me make it a little thin. Okay, yes, this is how it's being done. I hope you have understood how to use this particular um tool. Now we are moving on to the next tool. Sorry, we go back to the same area, and I think there's nothing important over here again than the things I've taught you. If you want to use the circle, you can check the circle, repeat the same thing I taught you, and that is how it is being done. You can play around all these things. Now the next thing I want us to move on is to the T. The T that you the T the T the T is test. Okay, so when you hit it like this, the arrow beside it, when you hit it, the pop-up comes. Then you can make the T, the test, your favorite. I think that is the best thing you have to do over here, the test your favorite. Now when it happens that way, it gives you the opportunity to write on the chart. So when I left click on the test, I'll come to the chart and I left click here. You see add test. Now I can add this. The moment it gets on the chart, you put anything that you want to put over there. So let's write maybe um strong demand demand zone. Then you can put it there as a strong demand zone. You see, you left click, then you hold and you can drag it anywhere you want. Strong demand zone. Let's say you can put something like this over here. If you don't like the font, you can come here. The moment you highlight it, this thing will pop up. They can check the font. You can make it 24 so that, oh, I made a mistake with the strong, but you know what I meant. Then if you can change the color over here, if you don't like the red, you can make it any other color you feel like you want to make it. That is how we use the test. So you know your chart, you can be writing on your chart. So at every point in time, you know what you are doing. So you can be writing on the chart. You can be writing, okay, a powerful trend. You can write powerful trend over here. You can write break of structure, BOS, you can write it here, break of structure. Just play around it. So that is how to write things on the chart. I've shown you, so just play around it. Now over here, we have the next thing. We have something more like an icon or an emoji. The icon or an emoji. Now you can come to the icon or emoji, the arrow around it, beside it, you hit it, then it gives you the opportunity to put anything that you want to put on the chart. So if you want to put emojis, you come to the emoji section. Then you can put this emoji over here. Here around your demand zone. Yeah, the emoji is laughing at you at the demand zone. So whatever thing that you want to put, okay, so you can put something more like this. Okay, an angry, then you put it here. Then you can put like okay, anytime you see an angry emoji, it means that maybe that area is a no-go area for you, or you're not taking trades at that area. You just play around it, just be creative, and make your chart a wonderful chart. Okay, but don't complicate your chart. Don't make your chart too noisy. Don't have too many things on your chart. Yeah, you can remove it. Now we are moving on to the next thing we have over here. We call it the ruler, the measure. We use this thing to measure. It does almost the same thing like the buy, the short position and the long position. So you can hit it, left click, you come to the chart, you left click on the chart. Now it depends on where you move it up or where you move it down. So when you move it up like this, it's going to measure the number of so it's going to measure, for instance, Have you seen? It's going to measure the number of bars. We have 91 bars from here to here. So it has calculated all the way here, but we have 91 bars. It took 22 hours, 45 minutes, and it was about 198 pips. That is how it does calculate. So if you don't want to put it up and you can bring it down, you left click, you come to the chat, you left click, then you push it down. Okay, you drag down, then it will give you a measure of how price has moved to the upside. That is how it is being done. Now we are moving on to the next thing. The next thing I use, the next symbol, sorry, the next two I incorporate in my trading journey. We have this over here. um okay, yeah, that one is what we call the zoom tool. The zoom tool. Okay, so I can zoom this particular area. I hit the plus icon, I left click at the area I want to start the zoom, then I drag to the area I want to end the zoom, then I left click, then that particular area gets zoomed. If I want to come back, then I hit the minus so that it gets reduced. I believe you have understood this thing, this particular tool. Now we are moving on to the last one that I use in my trading journey, or in my trading processes. I want you to pay attention to. I'm showing you the basic things that are going to help you in your trading process. If I'm talking too fast for you, repeat, like play and play and play until you are able to understand everything very clearly. The next thing is the we have, it sounds like an eyeball over here, an eyeball over here. When you hit the eyeball, it hides all your drawings. Okay, so if you want to hide all the drawings on the chart and get back a clear chart, that is how it's been done. But if you want to unhide all your drawings, you come back here, you hit it again, unhide all the things you have done, get shown once again. Okay, so that is it for trading view. That is it for trading view. The last thing I want to show you on trading view, please pay attention over here, is when you come to the far left over here. The first two you see over here is the watch list, and that is the only thing I want you to pay attention over here, the far left. Now over here you have the opportunity to add certain things to your watch list. So when you check my watch list, these are the things I am currently watching on my chart. You can make it just 3. What you're going to do is that normally when you start your trading view, okay, at the watch list area, there are a lot of nasty things there that you might not need. We have stocks, we have other things. So you just go there with your mouse cursor, and you see when you put your don't hit anything. When you just put the mouse cursor on it, you see that this times or multiplication sign appears. Then you hit to close. Okay, so these ones, let's say I want to erase this one, I want this one to leave my watch list. I just put the mouse cursor on it like this, then I drag to this area, then I'll hit the time sign, the multiply, it will leave. So everything that you don't need, you just put the mouse cursor, you hit the multiplication, it runs away. Platinum, I don't need platinum, you hit the multiplication sign, it runs away. Okay. Now, if you want to add, let's say you want to add a symbol to your watch list. This one is different from the first one we did over here. The first one, it might vanish, but this one you are adding it to your watch list. So the basic thing you would do is you come to the plus sign over here, then you add symbol. You hit add symbol, then if it is AUD card, or you can search over here, let's say Euro USD, Euro USD, then you can add the what you typed. Okay, you can add it here. You realize that the moment you add, you realize that it will come to your watch list. So that is the basic things I want to show you on the trading view. See you in my next tutorial.